I had already planned to make a video like this a while ago, and originally I was going to cover a more positive retrospective of Phantom Forces and highlight the good things about the new state it's in. But seeing the shit that's happening recently, I figured that I might as well scrap what I was trying to do before and just talk about my experiences and opinions on how it's dying right now. The game really started dying at the first movement nerf. It had already plateaued past 2020 to maybe 2022, but after that the developers didn't release much content, and in 2024 they just started making bad decisions for the game. I used to play this game constantly during the peak, and even after that I got back into it solely for the movement once people started getting into move tech. My point in bringing that up is that I know a ton of people who have a similar experience with Phantom Forces, and they don't play it consistently anymore because of the movement nerf. I explicitly remember one of my friends saying in-game that movement was literally the only reason that they still played the game right before the nerf. So the game lost a lot of people to that update, and they never really got them back, or even any new players, like they said they were doing the update to get. Even during the times when the player count should have been peaking, like the recent updates and holiday breaks, it barely hit the concurrent players that it had last year. And this part's sort of off topic from the actual game, but for all of the time that I've been into Phantom Forces, the most popular YouTube content about it has been almost exclusively about the meta setups and the update content and even high kill games or feed clips. And because of the fact that I'm not like good at the game and I don't use the meta that much, and most of the content was pretty sparse over the last few years, I just never really did much in terms of YouTube content. And I don't say that to complain, I say that to preface that when LJ actually did do something different in the YouTube community, I think that revitalized the game and the community. And he did it by focusing on something more unique, which was the movement, instead of purely sweating. So with that context, I want to say that when they implemented the Weapon Labs movement despite the community protest, the community-wide protest, that was the first real wake-up call to me that the devs were really out of touch with the game. I still don't know why they did it. I've never found a logical explanation that I could think of or that anybody has ever said to me. But I used to think that the devs truly thought that nerfing the movement would actually help the player counts. But now I think it just as easily could have been that Leto was butthurt that he's terrible at the game now, but I still don't really know. And either way, after that, the other changes were just mid at best. For example, the damage numbers, the challenges, the player shop, and the custom setup stuff. It's all pretty nice to have. It's all good quality of life stuff, but it's too little too late. I mean, most of them just add something that we've already been doing ourselves for years, like counting shots to kill, or finding like a challenging way to play the game. And I can't think of anywhere else to say this, but I think that the theory about the developers making the decision to remove blood for the age rating to go lower and making the text and movement of the game simpler might actually have been to get more kids in the game for them to groom. I know it's far-fetched, but the recent allegations don't make it any harder to believe. I think it's more obvious now that the people at the top of Stylus and their Discord server are just horrible people. And in the unfinished script, I was going to be a bit more charitable with my analysis of the developer team specifically. But with the stuff coming out about them recently, I don't care about doing that anymore. So to keep it short, the devs adding about a dozen new guns that are all fairly high rank, that was a cash grab. Especially the corridor, and so was paywalling PF Zombies, which, by the way, the early access for is more expensive than the original paid alpha of Phantom Forces. They introduced fucking inflation to Phantom Forces. And besides that, they're fucking lazy. All the shit that they're releasing just now could have been done and they're still radio silent on certain projects like Core 6. I get it though, because I'm working on my own framework for my games, and I understand how hard it is to actually fix spaghetti code and get everything to work together seamlessly. And so originally I was going to be more like gracious about saying this stuff, but it really is just like too much in their case. With their whole team and a dedicated contractor, what could they be doing in the months to years that it's taking to develop some of these things? Well, grooming minors. That's what they've been doing with their time. I want to go over the community again, separate from the development of the game. I've never been part of the larger community really, but the game has outwardly had a very sweaty and toxic community for a while. And I think people used to make a bigger deal about it during the peak of Phantom Forces, but ever since it started falling off in essentially late 2023, a lot of people quit, including YouTubers, including most of the new players. So everybody playing the game still was basically just used to it. And then afterwards, when they started making all of the horrible decisions in 2024, that just exacerbated the amount of people quitting the game. And now I see almost nobody who's under rank 100 and who isn't a smurf. So basically everybody playing the game still is fully aware of how shitty it is, but they just can't bring themselves to stop playing it, because everybody else who could already quit. Although I have been seeing more recently a lot of people in the chat who seem to be extremely new to the game, so maybe their plan did work a little bit, just not well enough. And also, I've always felt like there's some extremely strange vibes around the official Phantom Forces Discord server, but I was never actually active enough in it to see stuff happening there. So maybe I'm just looking at what I remember from there as strange with hindsight, but either way, I think the way that they were running it, they never could have made this work much longer than they already had. Especially since it was kind of an open secret, these exposés were kind of bound to happen. And in that same way, I think that there's literally no way for the developers to come back from this. About playing the game now, personally, I don't think I'll ever play Phantom Forces again, or at least not consistently ever again. And I really think other people should do the same, even with how much it sucks to say that, because I actually love this game. So anyway, that's about it, and I don't have a grand way to end this off, so I'll just say that Phantom Forces is cooked and leave it there.